Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in. Ladies and gentlemen, Cullens and Swans, Volturis of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie. I'm your host, Jay, and with me I have a couple special guests. She's sneaky, extravagant, and non-refundable. Emily!
So glad to be here alongside my good pal, Emmy.
Emmy? You nicknamed my sister after the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Awards?
Apparently.
I don't know. I don't think I had that like Kristen Stewart delivery there.
You need to be super duper angry.
Yeah. I needed to get in the zone a little bit more. Anyway, this is a podcast about toy media franchises, 2000s nostalgia, and whatever else we want to talk about. This week we are finishing up our conversation on the Twilight Saga by talking about Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Woohoo.
Yay.
Now, before we get too deep into this, I have to ask both of you, are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
Depends which movie.
Okay.
This one definitely Team Edward.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob is creepy in this movie, so I have to go with Edward.
Yeah, they do some stuff with his character here. Yeah, anyway, this was released November 16, 2012, directed by Bill Condon, who talked about in the last episode, which I'm actually recording after this, so that's going to be interesting, but director of like the live action Beauty and the Beast, and as well as Breaking Dawn Part 1, of course. Written by Melissa Rosenberg, cinematography by Guillermo Navarro, and music by Carter Burwell, returning again from the original Twilight. And this was primarily filmed and produced alongside Part 1, so since I already kind of talked about the production for Part 1, we can mainly skip over that stuff. It is interesting that, like, of the Part 2s that have come out around this time, because it's Harry Potter splits the last book into 2 parts, and the second part is very successful. Twilight splits it into 2 parts, the second part is very successful. Hunger Games splits it into 2 parts, the second part doesn't make as much as the first part. Allegiant Part 1 bombed so badly they don't even make Part 2.
So bad.
Yeah. Now we're seeing more like Dune Part 2 did really well. I'm curious how Wicked Part 2 is going to do. Now they seem to be like, they've gotten away with it a couple times again. Hollywood has gotten away with this splitting of things.
I feel like Dune and Wicked aren't as much, it doesn't feel like as much of a cash grab as like Allegiant, whatever it's called, and Breaking Dawn and stuff like that. So maybe that's part of, well, I guess we haven't seen Wicked Part 2, but why people are more excited for that.
It is interesting. I think Twilight is definitely, like, there are economics involved. I think, like, the cast was getting paid so much money for this. Yeah. I heard that Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson and Taylor Lautner were each making $20 million.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god!
I don't know if that's for both parts or for each part.
Yeah.
But because they had only originally planned on 4 movies, they had to renegotiate contracts for this. So they made a lot of money on this. Apparently, of the Cullens, the actor who made the least got $1 million for this.
Darn. Should have gotten a better agent.
But no, that's insane for how little some of the Cullens are in these.
Yeah, like especially
That's
like
fair.
Alice and Jasper, who aren't even in the last movie until the very end.
Yeah, it is wild. Obviously, like, everyone is getting money from this. I think the fans are also like, fans are motivated to watch 2 parts. It was interesting reading Stephanie Meyer initially wanted the 2 parts. Obviously, I think there's some financial incentive there for her, but I think also, like, as the author, Breaking Dawn is a long book and has a lot of scenes, and, like, from my perspective, you can cut a lot of it out and not lose anything. But as the author, I imagine she's looking at these scenes and like, oh, we can't cut out this part. I love this part and that part. And so I do think there is an incentive for her from like an authorial perspective of like, she doesn't want to lose any of the things, even though you could lose so much of this and it could still, where they're going around and like meeting all of the different vampires around the world. That could be a montage. It doesn't need to be like a 30-minute sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my rant here. Oh, I should do a plot summary. Whoops, forgot that I needed to do that. Yeah, this starts immediately after part 1. Bella wakes up as a vampire for the first time, and she goes with Edward on a hunt. And despite being a newborn, she successfully avoids killing a human climber, doing the free solo thing. She meets Renesmee for the first time and learns that Nessie has the power to show people visions. Nessie grows very quickly, and the Cullens start making plans to fake Bella's death and move away. But Jacob doesn't like that, so he reveals that he is a werewolf to Charlie as a way of explaining why Bella is different than she was before, and allowing the Cullens to stay without breaking vampire law. Irina, who's one of the Denali vampires, who I don't think I've talked about in any of these summaries before because they haven't been relevant, she happens across Renesmee while Renesmee is playing in the snow, and mistakes Nessie for an immortal child, which is a child who has been turned into a vampire, which is a big no-no for vampires. They have a whole flashback. Dakota Fanning throws a baby in a fire. It's fun. Oh. And so Irina goes and tells the Volturi about this. And that gives Aro and the Volturi the excuse that they want to take down the Cullens. Alice has a vision of this, and the Cullens send word to all of their vampire allies asking them to come and witness that Nessie is not an immortal child. Meanwhile, Alice and Jasper disappear mysteriously, but leave a contingency plan in case things don't go well. The day of the battle, the Cullens are successfully able to convince Aro that Nessie is not an immortal child. Despite this, he still wants to attack the Cullens and get rid of Nessie. So Alice shows up and shares a vision of the future, which ends in the death of most of the Volturi, including Aro. It's this big battle sequence, which we will talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
Alice also introduces him to a Brazilian half-human, half-vampire who has been living undetected for 150 years. So proving that Nessie is not actually a threat to vampire kind. And with his excuse for an attack gone, Aro concedes, though he hints he may one day return. And later, Bella lets Edward read her thoughts for the first time.
Yay!
Woohoo!
That's it. Forever.
That's it.
Yeah. I want to get into the battle scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's what everybody needs to talk about.
It's probably the film's most lasting legacy. And I knew 3 things about this movie before watching it, and one of them was the battle scene fake out.
Yeah, the battle scene that never happened.
I really didn't like it.
So I'm curious for both of you, because I went in knowing that it was a fake out. For years I had known. What was the experience for you watching this?
I've already seen it, so I knew.
When you first watched it?
Oh, good question.
Had you read the books, Emma, before?
Yes. So I think I was super confused probably with Carlisle's death because I was like, wait, that doesn't happen.
I had watched this also knowing, my first time watching, I had already known too. So for me, it wasn't a big but I remember being like, yep, none of this is actually happening when I was watching it. So it was very much in the forefront of my mind.
Yeah, it's odd. It really feels like, to me, I have to imagine it is Bill Condon sits down with the book, reads through it. Maybe it's Melissa Rosenberg, maybe it's someone else, sits down with the book, reads through it, and is like, where's the big battle scene?
Yeah.
We need a big battle scene because everyone is in the field together. Something needs to happen. But also, they can't stray far from the books without getting in trouble with Stephenie Meyer or the fans. So I think their heads are kind of tied here. So this is my interpretation of this is kind of the way of splitting the difference between the two. And let's have this big battle scene, but also it doesn't actually happen, so we could have the surprising character deaths and then they don't actually stick around. I do kind of wish, this is the last movie. It's not like we were going to see Carlisle again anyway.
So what happens in the book? That's always confused me.
So in the book, before Alice comes up, Edward actually senses that she's here, so he's back, and then he says that one line about, oh, what if we can prove that Renesmee isn't a threat? And then that's before Alice shows up, so they don't realize that she's back with the other kid. So then Arrow's like, oh yeah, of course, if you can prove it, then sure, because he doesn't think they can prove it. And then Alice comes out and then shows the child. And
So it's
like,
pretty
oh, okay,
anticlimactic.
Yeah, it's
but they do have more of a confrontation before the battle begins.
Yeah, the
with, like,
scene
Bella
where
showing off her powers and
yeah.
then like all this other stuff.
The moment where Jane is trying to torture Edward and then like Bella sends out her shield, that's actually like an entire sequence where then her brother is doing his like shadow thing and she has her like shield around everyone. They actually, we were listening to the audio commentary on the battle sequence with Bill Condon, and he actually said they filmed that part but ended up cutting it out because it was taking too much time to like I mean, it's already a long sequence. It's like 30 minutes of the movie are on that field. So they didn't want an extra like 5 minutes of shadow vampire magic.
And if what you're saying is true, which I think is probably what happened with it, which is like whoever was looking at the series of events and going, okay, we need something, right? It's not retaining the attention as like it would for a reader. Let's add a fight scene that doesn't actually happen or whatever. And so like watching the movie with how it went, if you took that fight scene out, then nothing really would happen. It's kind of anticlimactic. So as much as it's like the big thing, or it's like, it's so stupid, I also don't know how else they could have written that scene.
Yeah, it's tough to really know what to do.
I will say one thing I didn't like was all the character deaths, because it felt like a lot of them were just to have characters die.
Fair.
And especially watching it, realizing that none of this actually happens, I just couldn't care about anyone dying either. So
I think it would have hit a little harder. I was actually wondering if I had like a good enough computer to do editing, I would love to take this and like see if you can edit it with existing footage to make it so that the battle actually does happen and see how that plays. Because you can edit around certain stuff afterwards to make it look like, oh yeah, the characters we saw die are dead.
But I mean, don't Bella and Edward die too? So it kind of just ends.
It's not on screen. You end with like Aro getting burned, and then you immediately cut to like after the battle, everyone walking away.
Yeah.
Except you couldn't have everyone walking away because so many people are dead.
You'd have to do some creative editing. But I am
there
curious
would be a lot of creativity.
Yeah. I was rewatching the ending of the movie because I was listening to a commentary podcast on it, and I was paying attention to like, could you even do it? And I think there's a way to do it. It makes me wonder, like, how would that play? It would be so much more exciting. Just like, again, this is the last movie. It doesn't matter if you kill Jasper. He's not coming back anyway. just
it does.
Yeah, just watching the sequence though, because I'm rewatching it right now as we're talking about it. It is so incredibly exciting and well constructed, and it's like it's everything you've been wanting to see throughout these Twilight movies. All of the action you've been hoping for, or at least that I was hoping for. And like getting to see the vampires really let their powers loose, especially after we had that like big sequence of like they're going around the world and they found the Avatar vampire and the vampires who can make people see things. And now we're getting to see all of them like unleash their powers in this like Avengers Endgame climax. They're all here. Everyone's on this field. It looks better than like other big, they're all on the same field thing. I think just having the snow there makes the field a little more visually dynamic than like Avengers Endgame, where it's like they're on a gray plane.
Tarmac.
I think it's just like ground.
And not to get like, oh, girls only like girly girl things, but I'm curious as to what the fans like. If you were to ask a fan, would they even want the sequence like the action? Like, did the fans even need that? Or was this just a because the director wanted something epic, you know, like how I wonder if you were to ask a fan how they would have written it, if they would agree with what was added or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I do wonder, because I can see both perspectives. I can see if you have everyone standing around on a field and they don't do a battle, just like cinematically, that feels wrong.
Sounds boring. Yeah.
But I do also see that as like maybe that isn't necessarily the draw for people. Although I do think part of the draw of the series is Bella becoming a vampire and finding her own power. And there's a lot of like moments within the sequence, especially like her and Edward facing off against Aro. That's like a very fan service moment of like, our heroes are defeating the big villain of the franchise together.
But the thing is, you still get a little bit of that if you keep the show down from the books. You still have like people using their powers and stuff, and you could have expanded it a little bit more on that.
Yeah.
And then just focus more on the mental battle.
Yeah, and that does bring in of like Bella as protector, which is something you don't get as much in the big battle action scene. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if people have written on that, if big fans from the time have written on this that critically. Yeah,
I just feel bad for the family, Edward's family, for having to put up with all of the drama that Bella and I'm not even blaming Bella. I'm just saying her existence within their family has caused so many issues. Like,
also, like the werewolves. Who are
they got everyone involved.
Yeah. Because
the poor werewolves that like had like now kids turning into werewolves because of the increase in vampires.
Yeah, it's like this is the scope has gone beyond. It's like, why do the werewolves care about Bella? I mean,
it's because
kind
of Jacob.
That's the reasoning. They do explain it, but it's like
it's a bad explanation in my opinion, because it's like, come on, one man and his crush on an infant, which we need to talk about later.
Yes, we will get into that. I just like the sequence in and of itself. I just love the way it is made and constructed, and I'm looking forward to. There's a local theater, which I have talked about in other episodes near us, that has been doing like showing the Twilight movies. And they're doing a double feature of part 1 and part 2 in March. And I am so excited to see this in a theater, like a crowded theater. Yeah. I wish I could have been there like opening night when it was fans and seeing this for the first time. But I do think it's going to be a very fun environment just to like watch all of the crazy stuff that's going down. Even knowing that it's like not real. It's like, oh, they really went for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there is something to say that there's a theater that's still showing this. Like, as much as, you know, maybe that ending is a letdown, it's not too much of a letdown that the fans aren't coming back and being like, oh my god, this is great. Because it does feel epic.
Yeah, I think the problem is that it doesn't hold any weight to it. Once you know.
Yeah.
So it looks really nice, but I just can't care about it.
Yeah, it's different than like Game of Thrones, where that ending just is so terrible that it's kind of like you don't hear about people doing their big Game of Thrones rewatch the way you hear with like The Office or Breaking Bad or The Wire. Because it's like everyone knows the ending doesn't pay off. Whereas here it's just like this one sequence, whereas the rest of the movie and the rest of the series kind of still stands on its own.
It stays true to itself, even though maybe itself is not great.
That is I've been thinking about, I think one of the great quotes I have heard, this is from Chris Weitz, who is the director of New Moon, and he came on, and this was from a retrospective podcast years later, and I don't remember exactly, but to paraphrase it, he said, I know that the fans want a cheeseburger, so I am going to give them the best quality Wagyu steak cheeseburger that I can, but I am going to give them a cheeseburger.
Yep.
They don't want a premium steak dinner with all artsy stuff that is like meaningful. No, they want Twilight, and I will give them Twilight, and I will try and deliver the highest quality I can, but it is still ultimately Twilight.
And I think that's I my roommate and I just did a watch of the Divergent series, and I had only ever seen the first one, and I didn't read any of the books. Um, and I know the series is slightly different than Twilight, but I do think that that's one of the things that they did very wrong, which is that they didn't understand what the fans wanted to be delivered, you know, and it we couldn't even finish the last movie. Like it was so bad. We were cringing so much, and
yeah.
it was like, why are you doing this to us? You know, like because the storyline is captivating. It's just, ugh, the movies are so bad.
Yeah, it is interesting. Sort of. Have you seen the ContraPoints video on Twilight?
No, I don't think so.
It came out about a year ago. It is very much worth watching because she gets into like why Twilight. What is it about
Yeah.
Twilight that?
Why
And it is
Twilight?
interesting. Like Stephanie Meyer has talked about Twilight as like this thing that arose from her subconscious that she just kind of put on the page
Okay, Stephanie.
without like thinking about it though, which is
Mhm.
interesting to me. Of like, it is very revealing in a way. Just for one example, Bella's fear of aging,
Mm.
which shows up a lot in these. In pretty much any other teen book, you would have that be challenged at some point.
Mm.
Like, you fear aging, but that's like, is that really a thing you should be afraid of? Twilight is like, no, Bella should be afraid of aging and get her vampire boyfriend to turn her immortal so she doesn't have to age.
Mhm.
It's just like it is expressed without like a lot of like criticism put on it, which I think is
Yeah.
part of why it struck a nerve at the time, is because it's like, this is the teenage experience, or a certain sector of the teenage experience, just being presented as is.
Mhm.
There's no
Yeah.
moralizing. I mean, there's moralizing,
Yeah.
not the same kind of moralizing though that you get with like the typical coming of age story.
No, and I think that does make a lot of sense. It just kind of allowed teenagers to be teenagers, fun, silly, and into these ridiculous storylines of a hundreds of year old vampire falling in love with a 17-year-old. It's like, oh my gosh, but would he choose me if I was there? You know, like it's just
Yeah,
fun.
hmm
yeah, it is fascinating to just watch and read with that. Like, I don't know, I'm fascinated by Twilight. I enjoy them on like a campy fun
Hmm.
level, but I also am just like fascinated by what it says about its audience and about its
Yeah.
author in a way that like I don't think you see that with a lot of franchises. I think often authors are very guarded about this kind of stuff.
Mm.
Whereas Twilight feels very open and honest in a way that's like, I don't know if Stephanie Meyer knew everything that she was putting in these books, that you could kind of like
I mean, I don't believe she did. Like, first of all, how could you even predict that? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
because I think the second you consciously are making that effort, then it kind of belittles it almost.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, we're kind of talking around this type of stuff, but what's really fascinating to me about this movie, because Twilight is kind of, especially the first Twilight, is this fantasy of having this protector, this Byronic
Hmm.
hero type figure, but this like powerful figure who can show up when you need him most and like keep you safe.
Yeah.
What's so interesting about Breaking Dawn, specifically this part of it, is now Bella is the vampire. Now
Hmm.
she is actually stronger than Edward. And so the power dynamics have flipped. The
Yeah.
fantasy is no longer someone else protecting you. It is now you being able to protect the people you care about.
Yeah. And I think the story all along, I think, was leading up into
Oh
that
yeah.
sort of like, oh, she's a strong person.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think physically so. My thing with Bella does not grow as a person over the
No.
course of Twilight. She just gets
Yeah.
everything she wants.
Yeah.
But she does like grow physically stronger.
Hmm.
And like I'll talk about it a little bit more when we talk about Bella specifically as a character, but she has gained the confidence and the grace that she did it, like grace of movement that she didn't
Hmm.
have before. Where before she was like defined by being the clumsiest person who ever lived. Now she is a vampire who could run and jump and punch and
And yeah, do
everything else.
everything.
Yeah, she gets all of the fun stuff of being a vampire without having any of the negatives as
True.
well.
Yeah.
Especially
Well,
in this.
she keeps on starting wars, so I don't know.
But like
Yeah,
she can control her bloodlust right away and
yeah.
stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, there's no struggle
Especially in
there.
the movie, because in the book it's at least talking about, oh yeah, she's feeling a little thirsty right now, so she has to go in. Whereas the movie they cut all of that stuff out, so it's just like, oh, she gets tempted by a hiker, but then doesn't, and then goes and munches on a
Well, they
deer.
had to get to their fight scene,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that, yeah.
It is just kind of interesting how much it is Bella being a vampire, as much as the rest of the series has agonized over, is this a good decision or not? As
Hmm.
soon as she becomes a vampire, it's like, actually, she's the best vampire who ever lived, and
The best vampire to ever do it.
none of the problems that have afflicted any of the other characters are problems for her.
Yeah.
One thing I wish they kept more in the movies was Jasper being completely infuriated by that happening to her. She's like, this is not supposed to happen. And he like had to leave the room at some point. He's like, I just can't deal with this. She's too good.
Like, that's so funny.
It is like, not to bring up the buzzword, but it is a little bit like Mary Sue-ish.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think that is an overused term, but I think it does apply here in terms of Bella's experiences as a vampire being a very smooth overall experience
Well,
that has very
it's
few issues.
it also leans towards, and I think this is another reason why it worked so well in the fandom. It leans towards the sort of chosen narrative, the chosen one narrative,
Yeah,
that always also, like, whoever, Percy Jackson or whatever, they always are the best to ever do it. And Bella just happens to be the best that ever did it vampire version,
yeah, yeah,
like, and finally the girls get it, like,
yeah. That's a good point.
so
Yeah,
I
how many women have been chosen ones in narratives? Because yeah, that's like Neo in the Matrix, or well, the
yeah.
Matrix is more complicated, but we don't have time for me to talk about the Matrix. Red,
For all intents and
Luke
purposes, yeah.
Skywalker, and
Yeah. I mean, we have a couple, but a lot of times it feels shallow.
yeah,
Then now we're entering into a whole genders criticism film
which is
study,
relevant to Twilight.
which is so relevant to Twilight, but I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm the most qualified person to weigh in on it.
I mean, part of the reason I wanted to do this series, and this is a twin series with our Transformers series,
Mm.
because these two franchises, the movies were coming out at about the same time and have a lot of similar elements just in being like teen wish fulfillment franchises
Mm.
that aren't super like self-aware of that, or like, I guess not even self-aware. They aren't self-conscious about being teen wish fulfillment franchises. But then the way people treat them is very differently. Where Twilight, especially when it was coming out, was seen as this like horrifying, how dare they, the teen girls are going to be forever scarred, or
Yeah.
whereas Transformers is like, it's just Transformers, it's fine.
Cars go vroom.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and I haven't seen a single Transformer movie, so I wouldn't really know, but that is an interesting point that you're making.
Well, thank you. That was the point of this series, was just kind of thinking about the way people responded differently to different things based on which gender it is targeting.
Yeah.
Which I've talked about that a lot in the last episodes. We don't need to get into that. Now,
So what
I
should
don't
we
know.
get into?
I think the story, and I talked about this on the part 1 episode a little bit, I think it really suffers from being split in half.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think the ideal version of this movie for me is 2.5 hours, both books. We cut out so much of the stuff that is superfluous. I think the compromise is a 3-hour movie of both books. I think trying to do 4 hours on the book is way too much.
Yeah. But you had to, I mean, I feel like I understand in a way because you had to fit in everything for the fans while
Yeah,
also
yeah.
making it compelling for people who aren't fans. But yeah, I also agree with you. I think it does suffer from just being a bit oversaturated to the point where it's just like, okay, I'm kind of tired of this burger, you know, like
Yeah.
there's too much. It's too much.
You're on your second burger. You went to McDonald's as like, oh, I'm gonna get a burger, and then you're like, oh, 2 burgers for the price of one.
Yeah.
I'll get 2 burgers, and then you're halfway through the second burger. You're like, I didn't want 2 burgers.
Yeah. It's like, wait a minute, actually, I wanted
did,
one really good burger, but this is
yeah.
okay.
Did you rewatch part 1 before rewatching part 2?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I have seen both.
Yeah.
But for this, no, I just like, let's just dive right into it.
Yeah.
Let's just go for it.
What was that experience like? Just jumping in.
I had to play a lot of catch up. I did not remember who a lot of characters were, and then
there's like 50 more that get introduced.
Exactly. And to add a little bit more context to this, I also have never seen the third movie ever.
Yes. Yeah,
That's
I was talking about it with some of our other guests that you refused to see
I refuse
Eclipse.
because I don't understand the point, right? It's
Yeah.
like she gets engaged in the second movie and they get married in the third movie.
Yeah.
So to me, Eclipse is superfluous. And so
yeah.
I have never seen Eclipse, and then I skipped Breaking Dawn Part 1. I'm a very infuriating movie watcher. Just ask anyone. I always watch things out of order. So this wasn't that new to me. But it was a lot of fun. Just kind of be like, oh yeah, who's that again? And playing catch up, and then seeing the demon baby pop up. I'm sorry, Renesmee pop up. Be like, oh yeah, I forgot about this.
Oh man.
Yeah, watching them back to back, there is so much time filling, and it's taken directly from the book. It's like the werewolf drama and the meeting all of the new characters and all of that stuff, but it doesn't matter. We don't need to know who Rami Malek is and what his ideological perspective on the upcoming Volturi versus Cullen battle is.
I'm sorry, but I always need to know what Rami Malek's perspective is. That man could read a grocery list, and I'd be like, "Yes, sir."
Okay, well,
I do think if you try to condense it to 3 hours, you will be losing a whole lot of context. That is helpful to understand the story better.
My thing is, cut out the werewolf drama from part 1. We don't need that. That is superfluous. Cut out like the subplot of Bella's like plan for Renesmee.
Oh, like the runaway? Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need any of that. Mm-hmm. I think you could get it down because it doesn't actually mean cutting all that much.
Well, but I think because like the plan for Renesmee kind of adds to how hopeless Bella sees this battle as, so I think that adds some weight to it.
Yeah. I think it is still somewhat...
Because like Bella wouldn't let her daughter
for
stay
how
there
much time it takes up.
But the thing is like, yeah, I don't know. I kind of like how it spends time on stuff like that and does add depth to things.
I do like, especially this is part 1. I'll talk about it in part 1 more. I like that the wedding scene and the honeymoon scene are allowed to be like 30 minutes long. Like that is having that space. Once it gets to like the werewolf drama for an hour, it's like okay, that's
they could have condensed that.
And this one, it's like this one just feels like you have Bella turn into a vampire. That's great. I love all of that stuff. The Renesmee stuff doesn't quite work. And then it's just like filling time until we get to the big battle.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like, okay, well, we need this to be 2 hours long, including credits. And the credits are going to be like 30 minutes of it because we're going to do every character gets their featured moment. But we need this to be an hour and 40 minutes long. And we need to fill the story. So let's just like visit each individual vampire and hear a little bit about them but not enough to make them like full characters. They're still going to be
And not
stereotypes
enough to
of
care
whatever
about them, but
location they're
enough
from.
that you can recognize them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're all going to be in the big battle, and then they'll all like contribute a little bit to the big battle, but not enough that we couldn't have just done that in a montage. Like, yeah. I agree that it is nice to have some space. I just think maybe they used the space with the wrong stuff.
Fair, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially the we are going to introduce 50 new
'Cause
characters
I feel like it would have been cool.
in the last movie.
I liked how they spent that much time on like Bella being a vampire and like her enhanced senses and all that was cool. I wish they had spent more time with like Bella's relationship with Renesmee maybe.
Yeah.
And like how scared they are of her growing up so fast too would have
Yeah.
been nice to point out a bit more. And
I think the reason they don't do that is because Renesmee
budget
is creepy.
and creepiness, yeah.
So anytime you
Creepy.
cut back to her, it's like it's a problem. You can't have her and Bella connecting because it's
Yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of the scenes, Renesmee isn't even with Bella.
yeah.
She's with someone else.
Yeah. It's I do again, if I had like a good editing software for my computer, I would try and see if I could cut this down to 3 hours and how that would look.
Come over to my house for a
Especially
weekend.
like there are 50 new characters introduced an hour before the end of the franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we don't get stuff with like Seth and Leah, who are beloved characters from the books who have interesting things going. I guess Seth doesn't really have anything interesting
in the
going
last
on.
Part?
I don't think so.
I think they were just wolves.
I think maybe Boo Boo Stewart gets a scene, maybe Leah gets a scene, but no, it's like, yeah, there's like these characters who we have watched through the franchise who don't even like get anything to do here because we're too busy introducing Lee Pace as. Is Lee Pace American? This confused me. This is entirely. Oh, he is American. Okay, I think of him as British because I think of him as like Thranduil in the Hobbit movies, which is a very like British person role.
Yes.
So when he shows up here, I'm like, yes, a British vampire. He's like, I hate the Brits. I'm an
You're like, wait a
American.
minute. Where's this energy coming from?
I don't know. He exudes like British energy to me. Even in this role, he's like punk British guy. That's more about performance. That isn't even about performances. That's just like vibes. I give this movie a 4 out of 5 in terms of vibes.
Vibes. Vibes are kind of immaculate. That is one thing that the genre did keep on to, I think, was just the vibes are just always there.
Yeah. Is there any more in the story we need to talk about before we get into characters?
Well, you've spent 5 movies with this story. You have spent years with the hype of making of the divisive Edward versus Jacob, and you get to the end, and whether you like that end sequence of the fight or not, you get to the end, and then they kind of just like that's it, right? It's just like they walk away, and like as someone who is not a fan, just like watched for fun, like I imagine that was kind of a letdown. You've spent so long with this, and then I don't know. I feel like the ending wasn't as satisfying.
I think it's hard because part 1 was kind of the fulfillment of Edward and Bella's love story in a way.
Yeah.
Because
their wish.
Part 1. Yeah, that is Edward is like, for how much he is in this movie, he is not in this movie.
No.
But the thing is, like, with that fulfillment, like that climax in part 1 for their love story, you can't really repeat that in part 2 and have it have more of an impact at the end. So
I think it is. So you get that last scene of the two of them together, and that's like a very romantic moment between them of Bella letting him in. And then you get the 20 minutes of credits. I think that is the denouement that like all of the fans are remembering all of their Twilight memories, and the actor who played the Brazilian character for 2 seconds, he was so good.
Well, you also get Alice's vision of the future, seeing everyone happy.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Okay, yeah.
I do think it does. You do walk out as a
even
Twilight
though it
fan.
goes against all her powers or whatever, because she can't actually see werewolves, and Renesmee she has a hard time seeing, at least in the book. So I don't know how she saw that, but okay.
We're moving on.
Yeah, the end credits. I sent this to both of you. I don't know if either of you watched it, but
Nope.
it's the for a while, and you'll still be able to find it, are like taking franchises and putting the Twilight credit style over them. So the one I found was for Dune, the Denis Villeneuve Dune movies. And so they're just like going through like the guy who gave Austin Butler the swords at the arena, played by this actor, and they have like the filter and the song is played over it.
Wait, that's great.
It is very funny. They'll do that for just the weirdest of franchises, but it is that like there is something very cathartic there of like you're seeing everyone and they're all getting like these big moments. And I think once they get to like the main cast, it's like they're getting multiple scenes being showcased. And yeah, it's like I've seen it on YouTube. Just that part is 3 minutes and 34 seconds long.
Gosh.
Just the like going through each individual member of the cast who has ever been. They do both of the actresses who played Victoria. Is that her name?
Yes.
Yeah. They do both of them because they recast her for Eclipse. They're doing everything. I think that is, you do leave feeling like, oh, that was something.
Yeah.
I don't know what did it first. I know Lord of the Rings did it in 2003, and then Avengers Endgame does it in its end credits as well. Just this like, we're just gonna do the most and leave everyone with like walking out of the theater. Yeah. I don't know where I was going with this. Characters. Oh, we should do scores for the story. I give the story here a 2.5 out of 5. Should it be 2 parts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave it a 1. The battle really ruined it for me, especially since it's such a long sequence.
I gave it a 2. I think it has more of a rewatchability than other Twilight movies, considering I've rewatched this one a couple of times before, but I always go back to the first one, and that's basically it. So okay. I give it a 2.
Yeah, onto characters here. Bella, she has finally achieved the perfect Mormon afterlife.
She has.
I don't know a whole lot about Mormonism, just like briefly studied it in high school, and I knew a couple Mormons, but we never like talked about that. But I do think it is interesting. I was trying to think of an example of like just the structure of the franchise and the way what it's leading up to feels Mormon in a way that like James Cameron's Titanic is like, the ending of that is, oh, everyone on the ship is all together, and it's like, oh, they're all in heaven together. Whereas this one is, no, Bella has now transcended humanity and has become like this super being with control that she didn't have before.
Yeah.
Through her dedication to her husband and child.
Yeah.
But yeah, for people who aren't aware, Mormonism, if you are good enough, you essentially, like in the afterlife, you get your own planet to be in charge of.
Yeah, it is very Mormon.
Yeah. Which is something that hadn't occurred to me until like going through these movies and being like, oh yeah, that's I don't think this is Stephanie Meyer's Narnia allegory thing.
No, I think it's just her worldview and her worldview coming through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But I think I remember when I first found out she was Mormon, and I was like, that makes all the sense in the world now. I actually understand everything a lot more now that I know this.
Yeah. It explains a whole lot of the series. Also, Bella has like transcended her mortal anxieties. She is now beautiful and graceful, no longer and aging. Confident.
She fits with Edward now. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oof! Don't want to touch that one.
I mean, it is worth getting into because the thing is, Bella has not changed. The problem Bella has as a character, the thing that she needs to work on, is that she puts her self-worth in relation to other people.
Yes.
So she feels worthy because Edward loves her, which is why in New Moon, when Edward is like, you aren't worthy of me, that like completely destroys her because she has been putting her self-worth in her relationship with Edward. At no point does the series challenge that idea. In
No.
fact, it reinforces it by being, especially this would be like, now Edward has transformed her, and now she has Renesmee, so she is now no longer is she only tied to Edward. Now she also has this, but she doesn't have a sense of self-worth. Her worth is as a mother and as a wife. Even though she is like the central figure of this franchise, it is now stronger than Edward.
I just want to say, going back to Stephenie Meyer's worldview and her Mormon beliefs, that is another reason why it's like, wow, all of this makes absolute sense. It's just, that is what is stressed a lot in that sort of environment many times.
Yeah. It is fascinating to compare this to like pretty much any other YA franchise where the lesson would be Bella finds her own sense of self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is, no, she doesn't need to do that because now she has a kid and a husband.
But then she is also the most powerful vampire to ever do it as well. She gets that as well. It's like, choose one.
It's this weird contradiction of, she is now not equal to her husband. She is above her husband, but she is still kind of subservient to him in this weird way.
And you could almost interpret the ending of her letting him read her thoughts as sort of like the final submission. In one way you can interpret it as, she's finally letting her walls down, she's finally in a space of being comfortable. Or you could interpret it as like, and that's like the final thing she's giving him. Even though she's more powerful than he is, she's submitting to him. For now. For now, exactly.
That is, again, I find this all so fascinating. Like, I understand the moral outrage of like, what are we teaching teenage girls? I'm not a teenage girl. I don't care about that. I am fascinated by what this says about.
Well, it's interesting too, because even if Twilight's not like teaching, ignoring the teaching things to teenage girls, that's what teenage girls might be thinking on a subconscious level anyway.
It is potentially reinforcing ideas. Again, I find it fascinating. I'm not super interested in the moral outrage part of it, even though I'm like, there is reason to be morally outraged.
I think it's fictional enough that
Also, this movie's been out for years.
Teenage girls aren't generally watching Twilight anymore. And I do think there has been a very specific like reappraisal of Twilight and the things that it wrought in a way that a lot of other media doesn't get.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that is a positive thing.
Yeah.
But again, I am personally interested in this as like, I just find these dynamics fascinating to dig into, or what they say about like people in general and relationships. And I would love to see someone, perhaps not Stephenie Meyer, but someone write Twilight 20 years later. What is going on with these characters? Because there are so many directions you can take. My interpretation is Bella has gone full anti-vax mom.
Oh my gosh. She would.
Like that just seems like the vibe that she gives off is like, she's not politically active, but she is very anti-vax and like active on Facebook.
Yes, absolutely. Which, much to Carlisle, that's the dad, right?
Yeah.
Him being a doctor and like Edward dying. What did Edward die of?
Spanish influenza?
Something like
that. Illness, preventable, modern day prevention of illness being a huge thing in his story, and then Bella just going off the rails and being like, these damn vaccines.
But like, what is going on with Jacob and Renesmee?
Oh my gosh.
which we'll talk
Uh,
about that later. What does how does their relationship fit into this tapestry of the Cullen family as it already exists?
mm.
How does everyone feel about this?
And
Are
what does a human vampire werewolf child look like?
what
Oh,
even is
true,
her life?
yeah.
Does she go to school?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she grows up in 7 years, so she'd have to be homeschooled, but would she be super behind in her knowledge? Because you can't cram
Yeah.
like 7 years into, like, or whatever, the 20 years into 7.
But does she
Yeah.
sleep? Because they don't sleep.
She sleeps as a baby, right?
I think she sleeps in the
Yeah.
book.
No.
Again,
I
I
it,
want someone to take that. I would be curious to see Stephanie Meyer's version of it, but I think her version of it would be kind of boring
mhm.
because Bella has already achieved her happy ever after in Stephanie Meyer's conception. I would be curious to see someone who grew up reading Twilight and has since then critically reevaluated their relationship to it
Yeah.
approach the story. What does this look like 20 years later? Are Bella and Edward, do they still like each other?
Probably
I'm
because
sure you
he's
could
a
find a pretty
vampire.
good fanfic out there that would
Yeah,
answer all these questions
there's
for
probably
you.
something.
Well, I'm kind of wondering if like the vampires have a similar system to the werewolves, where you just
Yeah.
love someone for forever. Because like Carlisle and Esme have been together for a
Yeah.
while, I think. Same, like all the pairings seem to have been together for a while.
But like as a couple, if Bella and Edward were a real life couple who were not
Oh,
supernatural,
probably not.
yeah,
No.
I'm just fascinated by this. Yeah, Edward, he's here. He does
He's
stuff.
kind of a wet noodle in this one.
That's a very good way to describe him.
He's just there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the like inversion of power dynamics between him and Bella, but they don't really get into that. It's just like
Yeah.
they briefly comment on it, and then it's like, now we gotta go.
It's more like a
globetrotting
fantasy
to-
fulfillment, it
Yeah.
feels like, than anything that like will stay for very long.
Hmm.
Just like, oh,
Yeah,
she gets
I
to
would
experience being
agree.
strong, and then after a while she'll become a normal vampire and not be stronger than him anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of
Yeah.
like I think it is interesting though that like now that Bella has a daughter, Edward is kind of superfluous. Which
Yeah.
I think fits into the I can't speak to like Stephanie Meyer's personal life, but that does kind of fit into a certain conservative housewife view of
Mhm.
life where the husband is the provider, but he's kind of absent in the home, especially when it comes to like childcare.
Mhm.
And so the important relationship for the book to focus on is Bella and Renesmee. And Edward is just kind of treated as like, well, yeah, he's there, he's gonna be there. Why do we care about him anymore?
Oh, true, because a lot of Breaking Dawn, Bella's like hiding stuff from Edward with the not like a lot, but she is hiding some stuff from Edward to
Yeah, that she doesn't consult Edward about her contingency plan.
because then
Yeah.
Arrow would know and blah blah blah.
Yeah, supernatural reasonings for it, but it is interesting from a interpersonal relationship dynamic
Husband,
perspective.
wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my least favorite tropes is like the idea that I'm going to do XYZ for your good, but I'm not going to tell you about it for your good. That is
Yeah.
like, I cannot stand that. Or I'm going to get mad at you for doing something, even though I never told you not to do it in the first place for
Yeah.
your good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh my gosh, just talk.
Just a lack of communication. Yeah.
Which is
Yes.
what Edward is for most of the series.
Exactly.
And now
That
Bella's
was the
going
point
to-
I was going to make.
Oh, good. I'm glad we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, I was
Because
like,
you
that's
walked
the
me up to
series.
the door there, so
I did. Good job. Way to tag team that one. Yeah, he's the whole family is kind of infuriating in that regard, but
Yeah.
especially and the one that I'm thinking of is, and I don't remember any of the names of the movies, except for the first one and now this one, but the second one,
New Moon. Yeah.
New Moon, where he just disappears on her
Yeah.
and then is
Yeah.
going to like kill himself because he thinks she's dead. It's like, oh my gosh, guys. But yeah, and so it's kind of giving him a taste of his own medicine in this regard of like, actually, I'm gonna do things without talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's fun to see the shoe on the other foot. I kind of wish that was more emphasized, that we got a little bit more of that and a little bit more of like, how does Edward react to finding out that Bella was going to send his child away with his romantic rival who is also in love with his daughter?
Well, did anybody read the Twilight through Edward's perspective?
Yes. Okay, so I have read part of it.
Okay, I haven't.
It is long. It is because it's just the first Twilight book.
Yeah.
And because Edward can read everyone else's minds, it is not just what is Edward thinking in this moment, it is what is every character besides Bella thinking in this moment.
Oof.
So it ends up reading like Stephanie Meyer trying to justify every scene in Twilight and why every character acted the way they do. So it's like it is literally just, most of it is just like, here is a scene from Twilight. Edward is like, I feel this way about this scene. Anna Kendrick feels this way about this scene. Michael Welch feels this way about the scene. I wonder what Bella's thinking.
Yeah.
And then half of it is, let me see if I can find, because Edward is so dramatic, and that part is fun. I have it saved. I quoted it before, but it is one of my favorite ever summaries of what a book is. Okay, which folder would this be in? I have too many folders.
That's a mood. Yeah, I heard critiques of the book when it first came out. It was like, now that we actually are finding out what was going through Edward's mind, it's like, okay, actually I like you less now than when I had no idea what was happening.
Okay.
But I didn't read it myself.
So this is a summary from Tumblr from It's Crying Time of what this book is. Some random woman's thoughts. Oh, hey, he's kind of hot. Edward Cullen. Dear diary, today another whore vies for my affection. Existence is agony. Repeat for 700 pages.
Oh my gosh, wait, that's so funny.
Yeah, it is fascinating to read, but you get the point after like the first 3 chapters.
Which is another reason why authors just need to leave their source material alone once it's out in the world.
I do kind of like it though, in a way of like, it is Stephanie Meyer trying to justify everything she did in Twilight, which is, it's fascinating from like a meta perspective.
Yeah.
I agree that like it is probably not worth spending money or time on if you're just looking for like more Twilight because you enjoy Twilight.
Yeah.
But if you are approaching
go
it
to
from
AO3.
Like, yeah. If you are approaching it from like, what was Stephanie Meyer thinking in this scene? There is something there. But yeah, I think part of the reason she didn't do more of those, and maybe she will eventually, but like, Edward isn't important by Breaking Dawn Part 2.
No. Yeah.
He doesn't matter anymore. I mean, kind of, but now there's Renesmee.
Yeah. So, speaking of Renesmee,
Jacob. The imprinting thing just ruins his character. Because I am Team Jacob through Eclipse.
But here's the reason why I would be Team Edward, is that Bella never even gave him the time of day. So it's not like she was ever Team Jacob.
Yeah. I am...
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I went into all of this on other episodes, and pretty much everyone I've had on, I think most people have been Team Jacob, which is interesting. The theater we see these in is very noticeably Team Jacob leaning.
Well, I think the last one was Team Edward and Jacob get together and leave Bella alone.
Yes.
Yeah, I am also Team that. For the plot, for the plot.
The argument for Team Jacob is that he seems like a nice guy at certain points, and Edward does not.
Yeah, he's not a stalker, and like Bella relaxes around him. So
until you get to like the second half of New Moon, and then he becomes creepier. Though I think Taylor Lautner, I don't know if it is his skill as an actor or if it is something he is intentionally doing. He is, when he is trying to be a bad boy, it comes off as an affect, not genuine, which retroactively makes his character seem so much better because it feels like he's just pretending to be the bad boy since that's what he thinks Bella wants rather than actually being a terrible person. Whereas in the books, you're reading the books and you're like, how did he get so horrible? And then you watch the movies and you're like, oh, but he's a sweetheart deep down.
Yeah.
Until you get to this one, it's like, I mean, even still
like,
with the imprinting, it's like, I don't understand why this is a thing.
And why did she have to introduce it so late in the series and then also on a child? But then, like, more importantly, why does he have no control over it? Why did she write it like that?
Okay, so this is what I was thinking of before we started recording. So many elements of Twilight, like the problematic elements everyone talks about, like, why is Edward 100 years old? Okay.
Yeah.
It's because that means he is a refined gentleman who has all of these manners, but he still looks like a teenager.
Yes.
Or why does Edward watch Bella while she sleeps? Well, it's like this fantasy of having this guardian angel who is watching you as you're like having your nightmares, but you're actually safe in bed and someone is protecting you. Or like, why is Jasper Confederate
an ex-Confederate soldier?
Well, it's like this fantasy of the South as this like lost time period and like, oh, the Sons are gentle.
Yeah.
I do not understand where the imprinting is coming from.
Nope.
I'm going to do a little bit more research before I record the part 1 thing.
Or like love at first sight kind of thing? Or would it be something
the fact that it is on a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is something or if this is just like, because I feel like everything else I can kind of understand. Okay, where is Stephanie Meyer coming at this with? Even if I don't agree with it, even if it's still problematic that Jasper is a Confederate soldier, I'm like, okay, I understand where she's getting this from. I don't know where she's getting this from.
No, and it kind of goes back to that sort of like, what are women for conversation a little bit. Like, did you really have to?
Oh, like destined from birth to be the wife of this like werewolf.
Actually, you know what it really is? It feels like a desperate attempt to keep Jacob relevant to the story.
Yes,
that's truly what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, how can I keep him involved? And like, all of us are looking at this going, that's weird, lady. But I truly wonder if for her it was just, well, no, I just wanted him around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
have no idea.
Yeah, I think that is at least part of it. I'm wondering if there's like something deeper that she's like subconsciously putting in there for, but I think that is like a main reason is to give Jacob, like, because the whole thing is Bella loves Jacob, but not in the way she loves Edward. So this is a way to make him a part of Bella's family, even though he's not married to her.
Do Mormons do godparents?
I don't know. I was thinking like just like an uncle figure.
Yeah.
Would be such a better role for him, and he would be so perfect for that.
Well, and he naturally would have fulfilled that role anyway. Like, it wasn't like she's a kid and he's walking away, like he's at this point he's there. He's the uncle.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess you have to do, like, there has to be some reason that, because the whole thing is he's going to kill Renesmee for killing Bella, and then he doesn't. So you have to have a reason for that, but it doesn't need to be...
Well, you could just have the Cullens hold him off long enough, and then they realize Bella's actually alive.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be imprinting. There are so many ways that would have been so much less creepy. I am, on a certain level, though, I am, like, fascinated that they kept this for the movies. Like, this is my first note, if I am adapting Twilight, is... we don't do the baby stuff.
Yes.
Especially adding lines, well, Renesmee is still a kid, of Jacob asking Edward, so do I call you dad now?
Yeah.
You imprinted on my daughter?
Like, at a certain level, this is minor spoilers for future Dune stuff, but I do hope that they get far enough in the Dune adaptations to get to the worm person.
Yes.
Because I just want to see them do it. And at a certain level, like, this is not something I wanted to see, but the fact that they did it in the movie, that they didn't come up with some
Well, they had to give Jacob the happy ending.
But the fact that they didn't come up with some other way to approach this to make it less creepy, that they're just like, and I think they do try a little bit. I think that's why they have the flash forward to the future when she's an adult. But it's still so, yeah.
I just think that like with any source material or anything that has like a cult following, there's always that one scene where the fan base is like, yeah, we don't know why that's there. And this is not for Twilight, you know? It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. It's so wild. Again, I can imagine a version of this where it's like, oh no, he just like feels protective of her in like an uncle way. That would work. I do think. I guess they also they want to give Jacob the happy ending, which I think you just said that, and I talked over it. But yeah, no, you are right in that sense. Here's my pitch. So the final battle is real. Maybe we don't kill Carlisle just because he's nice, but we can have like most of the other deaths dead. Maybe we don't kill Seth and Leah because they're nice, but we do have some other wolves, and minor side characters get killed, but Jasper gets killed. Guess what? Who's single now? Alice.
Ooh.
So Jacob imprints on Alice.
Wow.
And then now he gets to be uncle to Renesmee.
You know what? I'm here for it. We can get rid of. Nobody nowadays likes Jasper anyway because of his Confederate tie. So kill him off. He's creepy anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my fix to that. I don't think the fans would be happy with it, but
well, we can do a test subject on a trial run on Tumblr and see how it fares.
Renesmee
what other
herself,
characters are there?
Renesmee, she doesn't have much of a personality. She's just
She's the magic child. She's like the Dune kid from the David Lynch version of Dune, not the Denis Villeneuve version where they're like, what if the kid is just a fetus the entire time? Is that better? It's like, maybe. I don't know. You don't have to hire a young actress to try and pretend to be an old lady who is in a young girl's body, but I don't. Whatever. that is like what they're kind of going for here.
Like all Renesmee
has
lovable.
Not even to the audience though.
Not to the audience, yeah.
Umbrella Academy.
I have seen a few episodes, but not.
Or 5 is an old man in a kid's body.
Yeah.
So it has been done, but I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah.
What they should have done is have Renesmee just grow up super fast, and by like the first month or something, she's fully grown, and then Jacob imprints, and then you can build out a personality for her, but then you don't have the Volturi stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how they could have approached this without completely overhauling the entire. I mean, part of it is just that she's like a CG abomination baby for so much of this, and then like when you finally get like Mackenzie Foy not digitally stitched onto a younger actress's body, then it gets a little bit better. And then they like digitally stitch her onto an older actress's body for the end.
I don't know how you get around the grooming allegations.
Yeah.
You know, it's just wrong.
No, this is a slightly different topic, but still in Renesmee. Have you seen the original, what they were originally going to do with Renesmee before they decided to do CG?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I am going to send you a picture of, this is affectionately called Chuck Esme after the doll Chucky. This is what they originally built. This is the animatronic that they built to play Renesmee as a baby.
Oh my god. No, no.
It weighed like 50 pounds. And Nikki Reed had to like puppet it around. And immediately, as soon as they started playing the scene, everyone knew we cannot do this.
This is it's one of those things. It's like, how did it get this far? And how much money did you sink into this abomination? Like, oof, that's bad, guys. That's bad.
There is footage of the doll moving. It is.
Oh my word!
Does
nobody in the team have like a teenage daughter to run this by?
I think it was
the focus group for this movie.
I think it was because they wanted the baby to have an adult face, an adultish face, so that when Jacob imprints on it, it isn't nearly as creepy. Which I don't think there is a way to make that not creepy. So
no,
but that is the reason that they're like, we need to build an animatronic doll, and it just ended up so horribly.
Guys, where do you think it is now?
I don't know. I hope it is like in a museum,
thrown into the fire like all the Immortal Children.
I'm with Emmy on this one.
Yeah, there's a great film, Annette, which came out. It's like a musical, and in that one they have a baby that's played by a puppet, but that's like the gimmick of the movie.
Yeah.
So that works a little bit better than when
that's the
supposed
problem.
To be like
this movie's taking it way too serious.
Yeah. It's like you're supposed to care about this character.
Oh, speaking of caring about Renesmee, I don't get why more of the witnesses, like the people on the Cullen sides, aren't more like wary of her, because it's just really weird how every time she touches someone, suddenly they're infatuated with her, and I'd be like super creeped out that that's her power or something, and I just wouldn't trust it.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her power is neat, but it is also like, as you were saying, it's like, is she brainwashing people?
Literally.
I do want to see a cut of Twilight. I guess they probably only used the Chuck Esme doll for one scene, and they realized we cannot do this. I do want to see it edited back in.
I think I protect my peace too much to want to see that. I think I'm okay.
What one of the biggest, funniest missteps ever in terms of like design for a film? The Cullens in general. We have Carlisle.
I like Carlisle.
Yeah. He's a nice guy.
He's the steady presence. So like when he gets decapitated in the final battle, it hits.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you know the final battle is fake and you're like, oh, whatever.
I mean, even still, like knowing the final battle is fake, I'm like, oh, that hurts a little. Like you think he's gonna be okay because he's Carlisle. And then I think what especially sells it is Esme's reaction to it. And like Elizabeth Reeser just like open mouth sobbing, like oh, it hits. Again, I love that final fight scene, even though it is it ends up not being the actually happening. Esme, she is finally getting to like fight, which is fun.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of like she's just there. Carlisle's the one who makes everything happen, and she's just there, but like she gets to fight in the scene, and that's like a go Esme.
Yeah. Especially after like I don't think she was in Eclipse except for in group shots. I don't think she had any lines. And she may not have even been she may have been in like 2 shots of the film. So to have her get to do stuff is always fun. Because she's kind of the Cullen who gets the least focus. Yeah, I just like seeing Esme get to do stuff. Emmett, he still looks so ugly. Like the haircut they give him is so bad.
No, because you're so right about that.
He's my favorite of the Cullens, and in this one I'm like, he looks so ugly.
Ew. No, go back.
I do like his strength competition with Bella here, though.
Mm.
That she is
Yeah.
stronger than him. I think it's a missed opportunity because it's the thing that I like about his character, especially in the books, is that he's just happy. And like no matter the situation, he is happy. And so I imagine that version of the character when Bella beats him in like a strength competition is happy for Bella rather
Yeah.
than being disappointed in himself. Here they
Yeah.
like play it as more of like he's not he lost to a girl, whereas I think the real Emmett would be more the real Emmett.
The real Emmett.
I would like to imagine that Emmett would be more of like, awesome, you beat me, that's so good. Like,
Or even like Play being like, oh man.
Yeah.
Like Play disappointed.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
I did enjoy watching Bella being able to hang out with her vampire family on their terms.
Yeah.
Now that she's able to match them. That part was fun. It was satisfying.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, we all get along now. Like,
yeah. We
don't have to be careful or anything.
The scene where she has to like learn how to act human is very good.
Yeah.
We should have talked about that with Bella. I love the inversion of she has been so clumsy throughout this whole series that now she has to pretend to be clumsy.
Yes.
To sell that she is not a vampire. Rosalie, she really wants that baby.
Yes.
You could write a version of Twilight from Rosalie's perspective, because the whole thing with her, this is revealed in Midnight Sun. Rosalie is jealous of Bella because Rosalie is in love with Edward.
Oh, then why is she with Emmett?
Holy
I don't know.
Hannah, what?
I don't know. I don't understand how they function as a couple. I cannot imagine Rosalie and Emmett having a conversation.
That's very true, actually.
Like they are the jock and the cheerleader who got together
because they're the jock and the cheerleader.
Yeah, they have nothing in common. So that, and then like Rosalie's other deep desire is that she wants a baby.
Oof.
So when Bella gets Edward and the baby, like, oh, that is like some juicy drama there that just never gets really explored.
Kind of not really a love triangle, but that Rosalie was like that.
Yeah. I think it's the thing of like the same thing with like the Denali vampires who are like they're blonde and pretty, and she has brown hair and she's plain, and so because the Denali vampires are also in love with, or at least one of them is in love with Edward, so the fact that Bella beat them all out for his affection is like, oh
yeah,
she gets that like little satisfaction of like, oh, you are all prettier than I am, but he wants me. So that's my interpretation. It's one of the things that 50 Shades of Grey then takes to the extreme, where there are like the blondes, where Christian Grey staffs his entire office with attractive blonde women because he is not attracted to them.
Yes.
He is only attracted to girls with brown hair who remind him of the crack whore, his birth mom. Quote from the book, that is what he calls her.
Another thing I just don't feel like touching right now.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, no, that's like, I think that's what Stephenie Meyer is imagining with Rosalie. It's that like she is conventionally attractive, and so therefore Bella
not
beating
his type.
her. Yeah, yeah. And Bella beating her to Edward's affections is like a point of satisfaction, that like Bella gets to be the special one.
Mm-hmm.
Alice doesn't have that. Alice is just like ethereal.
Alice, hands down, the best.
She is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the favorite.
I missed her here. This series, one of the things I love about the books, which the movies never quite do, is Bella and Alice being pals.
Yeah.
Here it's just like, oh, she's there for a little bit and then she's gone.
I think she's too much of the fan favorite. They couldn't put her in every scene or else she would have dominated.
She can also predict the future, which is a real problem for when you are trying to write dramatic stakes into scenes.
That's so true.
They would have had to rewrite the book, but I think it would have been cool if Alice was actually communicating with Bella more.
Yeah.
And then we could have seen in the movie some of the time filling could have been Alice's perspective as well.
Yeah, that would have been.
And then Bella gets kept up to date, so she's not like as anxious, but she still has to keep the secret from Edward and stuff. But I think that would have been cool.
I do really like seeing her let loose in the final battle. Like she gets some very good moments in the last fight scene. When she like feeds Jane's head to the wolf, that is so metal.
It's so satisfying.
We'll talk about the visuals of the battle. I love everything about that sequence is fun. Jasper, of the deaths in the final battle, his would have bothered me the least if it had actually happened.
Literally, yeah. He's
like
again
throughout
just
the
there.
series, he doesn't have much personality.
In 3, he like suddenly has so much personality, and then loses it immediately when they go into Breaking Dawn Part 1, and he's back to being like standing in a corner looking awkward.
Yeah. The only thing I remember about Jasper pre-Breaking Dawn is like he had a hard time controlling his bloodlust, but
yeah, he gets a lot of characterization in Eclipse, where they go into his past. Which, yeah, if you haven't seen Eclipse, then you wouldn't be aware of. Yeah, Eclipse does some interesting things with him, but at this point, he's just there.
Yeah,
I don't fully understand what he and Alice talk about when they're together. Like, not to the extent of like Rosalie and Emmett, but
it definitely kind of feels like Alice is with him. It feels a lot more like motherly.
Yeah. She feels like the extrovert who has adopted this introvert and is like taking care of him.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard because a lot of what we've seen of Jasper is him around humans, and he's just really awkward around humans. So I feel like it would have been cool. Like, again, if we followed Alice and Jasper's story, maybe we could have actually gotten
I guess we do get some of that in Eclipse. I don't understand how any of these couples work.
No, yeah.
Like, even Edward and Bella.
Carlisle?
Yeah, they're probably the most, but even then, like, Carlisle is so...
I don't know much about Esme's personality.
Exactly. It's like Carlisle is so like, he's into art and he's a doctor and he knows all of these things. He's like a thinker. Then Esme's like
the mom.
Yeah.
And then even like Bella and Edward, I do not know what their relationship looks like 20 years from this point. Beyond just like, are they even... I wonder if that is, again, the Mormonism of like, you get married young and you stay married even if the relationship doesn't really make sense anymore.
Yeah, or just the conservative mindset. Especially since, like, you know, Carlisle keeps on turning these people, or these people keep on turning into vampires, and he's somehow collecting all these couples, and it's like, actually, you know, they could have just existed together without. But then again, I don't think she could have written people living together without being married.
Yeah, so it's actually the only one he turns specifically to be a couple is Esme. And I don't know if specifically, because Rosalie turns Emmett. Rosalie hey, I like that hunk over there. And then he falls off a cliff or something, and he's like, ooh.
Like, darn.
I thought Esme was on the brink of death, at least in the books.
Yeah. All of them were turned, all of the ones that...
Because they were dying.
Because they were dying.
Except Bella. Well, no, Bella too.
Yeah.
But she would have been turned regardless.
But yeah, Emmett is entirely Rosalie being like, I like him. Which makes sense with their relationship, that they like, I cannot imagine a conversation, because I think that was just, she was like, hey, I like his vibe from afar.
Yeah.
And then Alice and Jasper are a couple before they arrive at the Cullens. Because like she has this vision of their life together and like goes and finds Jasper and then is like, hey, we are going to go and live with these people because I've had a vision about it. So they go.
I totally forgot about all of that.
Yeah, I think it's more explained in the books. In the movies, probably. I don't think they say that Emmett is Rosalie's.
And that's the thing. It's like, I think it would have been cool to have some people in this family that aren't a couple, just like
Besides just
You know.
Edward, yeah.
Yeah.
Emmett and Rosalie
Yeah.
kind of function as not a couple.
Fair.
I don't know that they share the screen.
Have I ever seen them like hug or hold hands?
I think they maybe kiss in this one when they do all of the couples are kissing at the end of the big battle. That didn't happen. But yeah, no. I literally cannot imagine the two of them together. Leah and Seth, the werewolves. It's weird because one of my favorite beats in the final battle is Leah saving Esme. And if you don't know which wolf is which, you completely miss it.
Yeah.
Because I think I missed that.
That's a cool well, just the werewolves and the vampires finally fighting together also is fun.
And the reason I like that moment specifically is because in Breaking Dawn Part 1, there's a little moment of Esme like brings, I don't know if it's food or something, out to the werewolves, and it's Jacob and Seth and Leah. And Leah does not like the Cullens. She's just there because Jacob is there, and she werewolf drama. Doesn't matter.
She's not there because Jacob's there. She's there because Sam isn't there.
Yeah. So, Esme like hands Jacob his thing and hands Seth his thing, and then is like handing it to Leah, and Leah like turns away and like is not accepting. And you feel a little bad for Esme because you know Esme is like, she's the mother, she wants to look out for everyone and stay away from conflict. So then when Leah is like sees Esme is about to fall into the thing and like saves her and then falls, it's like, oh, that's a incredible payoff for that moment. But if you don't know that is Leah and you don't remember that moment from Part 1, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Well, it still means something because just like the camaraderie between werewolves and
that's true. Yeah, I think Seth and Leah are the deaths I felt the saddest for in the final battle, even though their characters are barely in these movies and you don't know that it's them unless you know which werewolf is which werewolf. And when Seth died, I was like, is that Seth? And then they cut to Leah reacting, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember Leah's the gray one, so that's probably Seth. Yeah, and then I was listening to the commentary, and the director's like, it was very important that we made it clear which werewolf was which. And I was like, well, you did a bad job of it.
Sir.
I know it's Sam who kills Jane, who bites Jane's head off. At least I think it's Sam.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
We have a bunch of random people who show up in the final battle, all of the allies. Rami Malek is there. He's the Avatar. He controls all 4 elements.
Yeah, let's go, Rami.
It would have been nice if they either spent more time or less time on these characters.
I think since it's the last part, they just kind of distract from stuff.
But the thing is, you do need a big group to fight against Volturi, so it makes sense that they're there. But I feel like you could have just been like, we have a bunch of friends. Here they are, and then cut to the battle.
If they were maybe sprinkled throughout the series a little more, that might have been a better way to approach it, as opposed to like, here's the montage that's actually just a full 30-minute sequence where we're going to meet all of these people.
Yeah.
The guy who goes up to the attic, I don't remember if he does anything. I think he just is like, hey, I'm here, I'm going up to the attic. Then at the end of the battle, he's either like, wow, that was quite the battle. Or not battle. I don't know. There's so much superfluous stuff with these. I like the like Romanian vampires that show up and are like, we aren't here because we like you. We're here because we don't like the Volturi. I don't know how I feel about like bringing Dracula into this. Like maybe if they had chosen a different actor, because I don't dislike the actor. He's in Shameless. He's fun in Shameless. I forget his name right now. We'll talk about him when we get to the cast. But he's like, he doesn't exude a Dracula vibe. I kind of wish we had gotten like full Dracula style vampires there.
Yeah. I do, like you were saying, enjoy the fact that there's more reason to go after the Volturi than just defending Renesmee and the Cullens and Bella. Like, not everybody's going to be in it for this relationship that feels tenuous.
Yeah.
You know, so
I
I did appreciate that.
I understand why they have to do this because there are so many of them, but these are very like stereotypical. Like the Brazilian characters show up and they're wearing like they're scantily clad and they like do mystical weird will make you see the jungle.
Yeah.
And then like the Irish one shows up and they're like, oh, we hate imperialism. And we have that's our only trait. And then the American vampire is like, I guess the American vampire is there to kind of be the like, well, see, we're making fun of ourselves, so we can make fun of everyone else as well. But it doesn't really hit when all of your other characters are American and all have more development than any of these characters. I guess
Yeah,
Rami Malek
no.
is not nearly as like stereotyped, but yeah, it does kind of feel like okay, maybe we could have not done it where each of them is like the first thing you think of when you think of that country that they're from.
Mhm. Yep.
uh, Aro is so fun as like a villain. Like
Yeah, a pretty good villain.
he's an unpredictable mix of joy and menace, where you're never quite sure how he is going to react to anything.
I yeah, he's fun to watch because he can just kind of like be everything or like throw
Yeah,
his all into the character for sure.
yeah, and it's like I like the way they approach his character here. That he can be reasoned with, and there is a
Yeah.
way to like trick him out of what he wants to do. But
Hmm.
you have to be smart about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as much as like, oh, that fight sequence in the end didn't actually happen, it is kind of nice to be like, oh, we worked this out through politics.
Yeah,
Like it is a little different than your
yeah,
normal series or whatever.
yeah. It's maybe a bit of a cop out, but yeah, no, it is. It makes him an interesting character. That like
Hmm.
he is smart enough to know if he is going to lose the battle, there is no reason to even try.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we have
Yeah.
the Volturian general. I like some of the different powers. I don't think we get a whole lot of stuff. Jane has some good moments. She's just a fun villain.
Hmm.
Her brother gets some smoke. I don't think Cameron Bright is nearly as commanding a presence or noticeable a presence as Dakota Fanning, so he doesn't really stand out
I
to me
don't
as
think he's
much. But
supposed to either.
yeah, that's fair. I like um I do like the other like Aro's brothers, how different they are from him, and how you have
Yeah.
Caius is like the we gotta attack them. They're lying. And then Marcus is just like he just doesn't want to be there anymore. He's like, I've lived for too long. Oh,
Yeah. And I sorry, I forgot who acted Aro for a second there, but I love Michael
yeah,
Sheen as an
Michael
actor, and
Sheen
so
is
yeah.
incredible. We'll talk about that in performances. He
Ugh,
brings so much to that character.
he does.
Are there other characters we have to talk about?
I don't think so.
Not any major ones, no.
Yeah. I give the characters here a 3 out of 5. I like the characters, even if there are issues.
I gave them a 2. There are a lot of issues.
I gave him a 2.5. Mainly critiquing the whole imprinting thing. That really took a lot of numbers off of the
Yeah,
rating.
that's fair. Oh. On to the visuals. Pretty great.
I really liked when Bella was first turned into a vampire, how they showed the enhanced senses of like zooming into everything, and it was really cool.
Even just like
Yeah.
the opening credits when it's the like black and white footage with the red text and then it's like switching colors. This one stands out as like, okay, they are trying to make this big and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice as many like directorial flourishes compared to part one, but it's still like very solid from a filmmaking level. The battle scene, oh, that I keep wishing Twilight would be a little bit more lean a little bit more into like the horror stuff. And this is probably the closest we get. I know that is like a lot of people aren't on that same wavelength, but like the danger and the menace and the excitement, and it's like it's so visceral. There are so many beheadings.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
it's
fair.
just everyone is getting beheaded. Um, there are some like surprisingly gruesome. Like I'm surprised they got away with a PG-13 for this one.
Well, watching it, if it was rated R, like, I don't know. But it is a little gruesome. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
I'm thinking of like Caius getting his face ripped in half,
Yeah.
and
I think having no blood helps.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're very careful to like, but it is like you're seeing everything but the blood.
Yeah.
They are
And you're
not.
seeing this baby being thrown in a fire.
That is
Like,
the best part when Jane just like tosses it. Not even like. Just,
she's like, meh.
I need to find that GIF. I need to save that GIF because it is
Oh
just
my gosh.
it is the perfect
Yes,
reaction to send to people.
it really is. I
Uh,
love seeing the behind the scenes footage of how they filmed them running in the woods where they're on the treadmills.
oh, I have it. I need to look that up. Yeah, the running. They did not figure out how to make the running look good. Each
No,
movie
no,
they
it does
do it
not look
slightly
good.
differently, and each movie it's like slightly still not good. That's what I was apparently each movie they tried to rework how do you make the sparkling look good? How do you make the running look good? They never figured it out. They had five
No.
opportunities.
This one they just gave up on the sparkling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scene where it's like the Volturi are leaving and they're all like running, it's like that is just so odd.
It just, yeah, it feels really silly.
Yeah. I do like again, I was talking about this earlier, where it even though it's like this is a thing in a lot of movies now where it's just like we have this like relatively flat battlefield and it's filmed on a green screen to make it as easy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so often it feels like The Last Hobbit is I think one of the most egregious versions of this. Is it's just like the ground is gray, the background is gray, the characters are gray, and it just looks and it's that one it's like 2 hours of just the characters running around on this flat gray thing.
Yeah.
Um Here though, I think it might be the snow, just since there is something physical for them to interact with.
It doesn't feel as much of a stage, but more like an environment, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at some Hobbit footage and it's like, oh yeah, it's just they are on it is gray and oh that shot especially is just like, yeah, they filmed that on a green screen. Whereas I wasn't noticing that with this final confrontation, which I really
Mm-hmm.
appreciated.
Yeah, the stage or the scene or whatever does feel like cool because it's all snowy and everything, and
Yeah.
everybody's gaunt looks kind of appear extra dramatic and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And they were filming this sequence took forever to film because you have so many characters and these are like
Yeah.
not extras, these are actors who get paid for this, who get
Yeah.
paid money, like a lot of money to show up for things, and you have to like work around schedules and it stitches together really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
uh,
the final fight scene, it looks really cool. We've
yeah,
mentioned it already, but it does. It looks really cool.
yeah, there is some dodgy CG throughout the movie. We talked about Renesmee. Renesmee does
Oh
not
my
look
gosh.
uh
Demon Baby of Fleet Street.
yeah. That's a good one. Oh, yeah, there's just like certain awkward moments, but overall, I think they did good visual effects.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it was. Oh, I forget who did the visual effects for this one, but it's like a legit visual effects, like someone who has a lot of experience in the industry. So it's always fun to see um, Sam Samariel, who was on a couple of the earlier episodes, was using the metaphor of getting Ferrari to build a clown car.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, that's kind of what this is. Uh, yeah, I give the visuals a 4 out of 5.
I gave them a 4 as well.
I scored it a 3.5.
So yeah, performances. I've talked a lot about the performances here, for especially the main cast. What are your opinions on Stewart, Pattinson, and Lautner?
You know, the source material isn't rich, so and then seeing how they're this is a bit of a meta, but like seeing how they've grown in their acting.
Yeah,
I love watching movies with them nowadays, especially Kristen Stewart. She's like, I love her so much. So
yeah,
I'm happy with their performances, even though they get a lot of flack. And I gave them a lot of flack when the movies first came out. I was like, this is, you know,
yeah.
but
I think my takeaway with them is, I guess, Emma, what do you think before we?
So.
I think the issues with their performances are largely with the source material and not with their talent as actors. I do think, like, especially Pattinson and Stewart have really proved themselves
yeah,
post Twilight to be more interesting actors than they got credit for. Obviously, Kristen Stewart, Academy Award nominee as of a few years ago, and Robert Pattinson, Batman.
yeah, it's so
I
good.
yeah, it is interesting that like Taylor Lautner never had that same arc to his career. I think so. In 2011, which was before Breaking Dawn came out, he kind of tried to become more of like an action star, and that didn't work out for him at all. I was hearing people saying maybe he needed to stick to doing YA stuff for a little bit longer rather than trying to jump onto a new track. Um, I also know, like, listening to more recent interviews with him, he did talk about how the role was very physically taxing on him, and just like maintaining that physique was not something he was able to do long term.
Yeah.
So I could definitely understand how, like, why he stepped away a little bit from the acting after that. And I don't know, like with Pattinson and Stewart, I get the sense that they care a lot about acting as like an art form and are interested in being in projects that push and challenge them in new directions, especially like Pattinson being in like a David Cronenberg movie, and then Claire Denis film and The Lighthouse and all of these like weird and interesting projects.
Same with Kristen Stewart, Love Lies
Yeah.
Bleeding. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, she is great in that.
she is.
Crimes
It's
of the
so
Future. She's really fun in. Yeah, both of them feel like they have very intentionally branched out and like tried to find who are the auteurs who I can give interesting performances with. Whereas Lautner, he took his Twilight money and kind of retired, and that's good for him.
He's running a podcast now, and
good.
He's married. Like, it seems like he's doing really well. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah. I think they all. I think especially like what stood out to me of the main trio in this one is like Stewart really sells the like transformation to a vampire and like the added confidence.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And yeah, because for so long the thing of her was like, oh, she's awkward on camera, she doesn't know how to act. But no, that's just Bella. Bella is awkward. She is playing the role as written. So to get to see her like actually be confident on camera, and I do think like she is maybe the preeminent talent in terms of portraying social anxiety on screen. So to get to see her like play something else is a lot of fun.
Yeah. As much as like her character doesn't really grow, Bella or Kristen Stewart as an actress did grow.
Yeah.
Over the 4 or 5 movies.
I think Pattinson is checked out at this point.
He's so done.
But yeah, I can imagine, the podcast I was listening to, the commentary podcast, was imagining that between takes, Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson are like writing down the names of all of the directors they want to work with next. And then like everyone else is like looking at their piles of cash being like, okay, we can do this.
Yep.
There's Kelly Lutz looking at his $1 million like, okay.
I love that. No,
play
I'm
his
there for
scenes. Yeah. It's fun to see actors get their dues. Michael Sheen.
Ugh, love that.
He's
man.
just he is phenomenal. He was doing this for his like daughter, who was a Twihart.
Yes.
And he just like delivers so good. He knows what he needs to bring here, the exact energy he needs to bring.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah. I was introduced to him first, I think, in Good Omens. Like I wasn't aware of him as an actor before that, so it was a little later in his career.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I'm like, oh, I love that man. He's so funny.
he is, anything I see him in, he is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is just, and he can play such a wide range of things, but this is really playing to his like scenery devouring capabilities of just like, he is chewing so much scenery.
Yeah.
He is hamming it up in the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see a whole movie of him as like an evil vampire lord.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Going like crazy with that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think most of the performances I kind of think the same as I have thought in other movies.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Foy shows up from Interstellar. I guess she is in Interstellar after this. But that's always fun to see her pop up in things. I don't know I know she did a couple things. I don't know if she's still acting much. But for a while she was like a go-to. And then we have just like a long list of new people showing up. Lee Pace, I mentioned, as again, I keep thinking he should be British, but he isn't. Noel Fisher plays Vladimir, the closest we get to like confirmation that Dracula exists in this universe. He I don't know that he's perfectly selling the accent to me, but I like him in other stuff. So yeah, who else do we need to bring up here?
I mean, Rami Malek.
Rami Malek, yes. He was featured more than I was expecting him to be featured.
Yeah, I mean, I was aware of him as an actor from, what was he in, Mr. Robot?
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, that's the dude from Night at the Museum. And then, it's all coming together. So
he's had an interesting and fun career. Yeah. Another Academy Award winner.
Yeah.
For Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Hooray. That's one where like when I watched it when it came out, I was like, oh yeah, that's a very good performance. And then looking back at it, I'm like, is it though? I like him as an actor.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit SNL sketch performance type. Yeah. But he has given good performances elsewhere. So that is, I think part of that is my feelings for the film bleeding into my feelings for his performance.
It's hard to judge a biopic, for sure.
Yeah. there are just so many people here. This cast list is endless. I do like that the credits are like, we are going to give every single character their moment.
I mean, they did work hard. Like, I'll give them that.
Yeah. But especially like for the characters who show up in this movie, it is just kind of funny to have like a solo title card for like Noel Fisher as Vladimir.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, sure, why not? That is the funny thing of like when they do the Dune version of these end credits, that because they have like not smaller casts, they aren't just small casts, but because there are fewer named characters, it's like, yeah, the attendant at this scene played by this person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the performances here are good. I gave them a 4. A lot of that is Michael Sheen.
I gave them a 3.
I give him a 4.
Yeah, last up we have sound. I know, Emily, you gave sound... Oh, wait. Yeah, you did. You gave sound a very high score.
I'm
curious to hear your thoughts.
You know, the music, it's all good. Like, it's Twilight. I don't know. I feel like the vibe around it is great. Plus I have no way to judge sound, so I was like, I'll give the sound guys all of the credit because they deserve it. So there's fair. Really not a lot going into me choosing the score besides just vibes.
Okay. Yeah. I was curious because this is the one that brings back the most musical cues from the first movie, which I really liked. I think my favorite is still New Moon, which has a lot of great songs, like bringing in other artists to do songs. Like I listened to that in the car.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a banger, like indie folk alt rock soundtrack.
Well, and this is the one that has 1,000 years, right?
Yes. Yeah,
that's stuck with me to this day. Like, that is still so visceral, that song with this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it is this movie in song form.
Yeah.
Especially like the end credits just drive it home. Emma, what did you think of sound?
Yeah, I mean, again, sound isn't something that I really notice in movies, which if you don't notice it, that's good. So
I really like the like epic battle music, and I think at a certain point they have like an electric guitar riff in there. Like it goes hard. I enjoyed the sound very much. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
I gave it a 4.
Yeah,
Emily I gave it a 5.
A 5
like
yep. Well, yeah, that leaves me with a final score of 18 out of 25, which is a 72% or a 3.6 out of 5 stars.
I gave it a 14 out of 25, you said?
Yes.
56% or a 2.8.
And mine is a 17 out of 25, which is a 68% or a 3.4 out of 5 stars.
I think it didn't help that I reread the book so close to rewatching the movie. There were so many things I was like, oh, I liked it in the book better.
Okay, yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, I stand by not having read this book or this series. I'm like, the magic of the movies can kind of live on a little bit more.
Okay, what is interesting to read is Gender Swap Twilight. The Stephenie Meyer Gender Swap Twilight is...
She wrote a gender swap or someone did that?
No, she wrote it. It was her way of being like, Bella is not a bad woman character because if you gender swap it, it's the same story, which leads to like a very fascinating... It is really interesting. I find it interesting. A lot of people dislike that it isn't more different.
Change much.
Yeah, it's basically just find and swap names and pronouns. But I like it because I haven't read regular Twilight, so I'm like, oh, this is. I think if they ever decide to do a Twilight remake, they should do that version.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, Twilight.
There we go. And there you have it, folks.
Yeah. Any final thoughts before we wrap things up here?
We touched it a lot at the beginning, but I just think that the spirit around Twilight, I just love that it's lived on, you know?
Yeah.
Like, as much as I rolled my eyes at it and critiqued it when I was in 6th grade, now that I'm like, 10 years, 15 years after the fact, I'm like, oh, it's so fun. Like, and like,
Yeah.
it's usually one of those movies of like, oh, I don't know what to watch. Well, let's just put on Twilight.
Emma, how do you feel about Twilight?
Yeah, I do really like when we went into the theater to watch it with a huge crowd. That was a lot of fun. I think if you just take it as a light watch and don't take it too seriously, it's a pretty fun watch.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is fascinating when you do take it seriously.
Well, you're taking like the culture around it and
Yeah.
the subconscious decisions seriously, which
Yeah.
makes sense. But I think like it's fun just on a surface level.
Yeah. I think there is like, a different level of taking it seriously, of like getting invested in the drama and the characters that maybe doesn't stand up if you aren't already invested in that. But I mean, I enjoy the drama and the characters as well. So, but yeah, anyway, thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to follow us on social media. We are Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr. Binging Barbie on Serialized, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and go join our Patreon. Emily, I don't know if you have anything to plug, but if you do, this is a time to do it.
I just plug taking care of yourself in this time of year, in this spirit of life. I'm plugging good vibes for everybody, manifesting a great year, and yeah, that's about it.
How about you, Emma?
No.
Nothing to plug? Well, yeah, I will be back next week to reveal the rankings of the Twilight Saga, and I'm going to be cajoling John into joining me, so you'll get to hear his thoughts on Twilight as someone, I think he said he'd only seen the first one, and he did not want to do this series with me, so that's going to be interesting to hear his opinions. But yeah, until then, we will continue blissfully into the small but perfect peace of our forever.
Oh.
Bye, Bella.
Bye.